Coming up on this week's CAL FIRE Report, a look at one way CAL FIRE supports private forest landowners in building a more resilient California. The latest on last week's large fire activity, including the Oak Fire in Mariposa County. What this week's weather could mean for fire danger. A CAL FIRE volunteer of 25 years recognized for his service. And a quick look at Camp Smokey's return to California State Fair this year. Thank you for joining us for the CAL FIRE Report for Monday, July 25th, 2022. I'm Captain Chris Bruno, filling in this week for Battalion Chief Isaac Sanchez. The footage you see behind me is from the Oak Fire that broke out over the weekend near Yosemite National Park. I'll have more information on that fire coming up in just a moment. Did you know that 40% of forest land in California is privately owned? CAL FIRE supports private forest landowners with assistance to maintain their forests throughout the California Forest Improvement Program, also known as CFIP. This program has been in place since 1980 and helps eligible forest landowners with technical and financial assistance for planning, reforestation, and resource management.
A friend of mine, he brought me the Forester and said, you can spend 10 years doing this and we can get it done next winter, and it was too good to pass up.
Private forest landowners face a lot of challenges. Many landowners know exactly what they want to see out of their property, but they're not sure what tools to use to get there or how to reach the people that can help them do that. The CFIP program allows landowners a chance to interact with a registered professional forester and other forestry professionals to do the work on their property that needs to be done to promote forest health, fuels reduction, and other landowner objectives. Every landowner comes into the program with their own unique set of objectives for their property.
This was a tinderbox waiting to happen. When we were making the decision, we had fires going all around us.
Yeah.
You know, we had all of our valuables packed up. We were trying to figure out how to move animals.
Right here where we were standing 3 weeks ago was a road 6 feet wide with 6 to 8 foot brush on either side of this road. When you look at it now, that's why it's so open here, because this was solid brush. The CFIP program sort of forms a bridge between the landowner's forest management objectives and the safety of the community.
This doesn't just only help Steve and I and our animals, and but this is a huge fire break for the for the town of Meadow Vista.
This is one of the best examples of CFIP helping to protect a community I've ever seen.
Additional information on the CFIP program can be found on the CAL FIRE website, fire.ca.gov. So far this year, CAL FIRE and our cooperators have responded to over 4,600 fires for a total of 53,160 acres. That's a big jump from last week's numbers, but we're still well below last year's extreme activity. You can see on our statewide fire map that there are currently 5 major wildfires burning throughout the state. The largest and most active of those right now is the Oak Fire in Mariposa County, just outside of Yosemite National Park. The Oak Fire has grown to 16,791 acres since sparking on Sunday morning. Several communities have been evacuated, and damage inspection teams are hard at work getting an accurate total on the number of homes and other structures that have been destroyed by the fire. Firefighters currently have the Oak Fire 10% contained. While the cause of the Oak Fire is currently under investigation, it is important to recognize that around 95% of all wildfires are caused by people, and more often than not, completely by accident. That means these fires are preventable. We'd like to once again stress to everybody in California, both visitors and residents, to be extra diligent in preventing future wildfires. That means taking steps like not dragging tow chains on the road, being mindful of any campfires when they are allowed, and not using power equipment like chainsaws and weed trimmers after 10 a.m. or on extremely hot or windy days. Small steps like these can make a difference in what is shaping up to be a very busy summer for firefighters. This week, Northern California is expected to continue the trend of hot and dry weather that we've been seeing for several weeks now. We have critically dry vegetation, which means the risk of new fires will continue to be elevated. Additionally, we could see lightning activity Tuesday and Wednesday over the Bay Area and Sacramento Valley, as well as the northern and eastern mountains on Tuesday and Wednesday. Several areas in Southern California are expected to see thunderstorms until Tuesday, although those storms are expected to produce small rainfall. After Tuesday, Southern California is forecast to see a return to those hot and dry conditions, which will quickly dry the vegetation back out. CAL FIRE Chief Joe Tyler recently presented Pat Stanley with a 25-year pin for his work as a volunteer in prevention, or VIP. As a CAL FIRE VIP, Pat has donated thousands of hours to Camp Smoky at the State Fair. He is an asset to Camp Smoky due to his historic knowledge, ability to communicate fire safety, and his enthusiasm. He even contributes his own personal resources by bringing his antique fire engine for display for the duration of the fair. During his tenure at Camp Smoky, Pat has reached more than 100,000 guests and is dedicated to educating the values of fire safety, fire prevention, and helping those he serves. Thank you, Pat, for your volunteer efforts and making Camp Smoky a success. Speaking of Camp Smoky, this fun event is happening at the California State Fair in Sacramento now through July 31st. Visit Smoky's fire safety stations, explore CAL FIRE's engines, and challenge yourself to use a fire extinguisher with our electronic demonstrator. Here is a short video on Camp Smoky.
Smoky Bear will always be the fire prevention symbol. He's multi-generational and he's international. Say Smoky!
Come to Camp Smoky and have fun.
And that's the CAL FIRE report for July 25th, 2022. For regular updates on significant wildfires, be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. And for tips on how to keep your home and family safe when disaster strikes near you, please visit readyforwildfire.org. I'm Captain Chris Bruno. Have a safe week.